Hey guys, it's Dustin with RC Jet Addiction. Today we're going to talk about the JR370A gyro. Lately there's been a lot of chatter about why do I want to use one, is it cheating, blah blah blah. So let's put that to rest. The reason you want to use a gyro these days is makes a small airplane feel like it's a big airplane. Basically it adds inertia so the airplane stays where you left it, but when you want it to roll, it's more responsive, and then stops when you want it to stop. Just makes the airplane fly on rails and less susceptible to wind gusts, thermals, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. Just keeps it flying on a rail. So now that the Top Gun rules, World Jet Masters rules allow them on all three axes, we're taking advantage of it. I like it on aileron and rudder myself. I feel elevator is not necessary. So let's get into what you get in this box. They're about 165 bucks. So open it up, take out the foam. We've got the instruction manual, some double-sided foam tape. I've already used a square of it. We got the adjuster tool and the gyro itself. So let's talk about the controls on the face of the gyro. We've got the deadband switch. One selection is low, the other is zero. What you want to do with deadband is decide if you're using an old analog servo. If that's the case, you want to use low deadband. If you're using a high-end servo like a digital servo, an 8411, 8611, 87, 8911, to that effect, you'll want to use zero deadband. The next switch is the reverse switch. We got normal and reverse. This is the compensation. So if the airplane were to uncommanded roll right, it would want to correct with left. And the same thing goes with yaw. If it yaws right, correct with left. So if it's not correcting properly, we'll flip that switch. On the next video we'll go over the installation and setup of the gyro. The last feature is the travel adjustment knob, and that basically sets the maximum allowable deflection of your aileron or rudder, or whatever control surface you put it on. So in the toolkit they provide this little wrench. You'll see on one end it has a star and the other is a flat. On the 370A gyro, the star is completely useless. It will not fit into that screwdriver slot. So what you have to use is the screwdriver, and you'll notice that if you looked in there with a magnifier, it will only fit in to one of the crosshairs. So I've got it inserted, I can feel the pot turning, but if I turned it 90, it won't engage. So you got to be careful that you're actually locked in, so you can feel a little tension. This tool can be used to flip the little dip switches there. That's pretty simple. To mount a gyro, we use the double-sided white foam tape. So you'd cut out a square. As you can see, I did that previously. And just make sure the backside is clean. Use alcohol or acetone. Make sure it dries out. And then whatever surface you're sticking to, just push it down firmly and give it a little tug, twist it, make sure it's not coming off. A good rule of thumb is to have a loop of Velcro go over the face of it through your board. You could use a Velcro zip tie, but I advise you to make sure the gyro can't come loose. If it does come loose, the airplane will be virtually uncontrollable. So let's talk about the electrical hookups. We got this one connector that is a JR female, and then the longer wire has two wires on it. They're both JR males, one black, one white. Notice the white one only has one wire, and it's on the signal side of the connector. The other connector has the standard three wires, orange, red, and brown. And the black one here, the three wire on the long lead, is what you would connect to your aileron channel, or your rudder channel, or your elevator channel. So this is what would normally be going to your control surface. The white one is what we refer to as the gain channel. What gain is the, I guess, the factor of correction. It's a proportional, so the more gain you have, the more correction the aileron or rudder will give for the given error that the gyro senses. So if the airplane wiggles in the yaw direction, the rudder will wiggle opposite, proportionate to the amount of gain you have. So a strong wiggle would be a strong correction. So the gain needs to be on its own channel. You can set it up on a knob, you can set it up on a switch. There's many ways you can do it, but it must be connected to the receiver to its own channel. So we've got the surface coming in from the receiver, going through the gyro, and coming out this connector here. So this is what you'd plug your ailerons or your rudder into. If you're using ailerons, I recommend using a Y lead or a matchbox after this. The reason to use a matchbox is so you could set your travel adjustment for differential if your airplane requires it, but a simple Y harness is all you need. Alright, so today we covered the basics of what you get when you open your brand new JR370 gyro. The next video will discuss proper installation and start going over programming techniques. We're going to cover, eventually, in the long run, we'll cover how to set up stick priority or constant gain. Lately, most of us are going to using stick priority, which is just a little more complicated, but gives the airplane a very natural feel. It can almost not even tell there's a gyro. We'll go over proper technique, how to dial it in so that you're not using too much gain. If you're using too much gain, it's very noticeable, and if you're using an extreme amount of gain, it could be dangerous for the airplane. You'll get into that nasty oscillation, which could damage the airplane or just scare you. So we'll start with programming on the next video.